Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the sixth episode of the Flyered Up podcast. I am your host, Amadeo Gracia, along here with my partner, Chris Mayer.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing?
And we are joining you here on, it's currently Friday night as we record this episode of the podcast, 2 days after the Flyers' home opener victory against the New Jersey Devils, where they shut them out by a score of 4-0. And just to start off, that game was absolutely amazing, specifically Carter Hart. And the atmosphere in total. That game was just amazing. Chris, what are your thoughts on that game?
That was one of the best games I've seen in a long time. The atmosphere was great. The team played good. They were spot on. Really good game. Carter Hart, as you said, he was phenomenal. That was a really good game.
Would I say a godlike by Carter Hart? Possibly.
Yes. Yeah, I think I'd say godlike.
Yes, Carter Hart was very godlike in that game. He stopped 25 out of 20. Well, 25 shots. Well, 25 saves out of 25 shots. I don't know why I messed that up so much. But yeah, just it doesn't matter. He's a god. It doesn't matter. He's God. So just the start off, even before we get into the recap of the game, just the beginning of everything, the atmosphere of the Wells Fargo Center felt a lot different. It felt very, I would say, more energetic than honestly any game last season. It's just that with all the new moves coming into this season, Alain Vigneault now being the head coach, this whole transition into this fly or die mentality, be an effing flyer, as Alain Vigneault likes to say. It's just the Wells Fargo Center felt a lot more rocking, and I was thankfully able to attend the home opener to experience that whole opening night's, just all the opening night event. And just to see all the fans, that's the best crowd atmosphere that I have seen in a while. Just from all the mediocrity the past few seasons to actually maybe live up to some hype this season, and the fans looked pretty excited. Chris, I know you didn't attend this game, but what was it like watching from, I guess, a TV perspective of the crowd atmosphere?
I thought the game itself was good. Just watching it on TV, you knew it was a big game. It was on national television. They had Doc Emmerich. He was calling the game. A lot of things that stood out to me were definitely, the fans. They were real wild, excited. They were cheering. A lot of those 5-on-3 penalties that the Flyers killed late in the second period. That really made everyone get really loud, and that might have been the loudest I've ever heard that building on TV in the last few years. A lot of things made that a lot better. One, it was the first game of the year at home. They're coming off a real solid win in Prague, Czech Republic. They haven't played hockey in a few days. There wasn't many other Philly sports at the time. I know the Sixers played that night, and then the Eagles played as well. And then it was kind of just like in the middle of the week, you got the Flyers, and everyone was all excited for it. I really did like how the Flyers played. I love the atmosphere. I think the atmosphere and the fans at Wells Fargo, I think that really made the team step up and play a lot better because they knew what they were coming into. They knew that the fans were going to be wild. So I thought the Flyers played great, and I thought the atmosphere helped it.
I completely agree with you 100%. It was just like going back to what you said about the playing the first game in the Czech Republic, and now everyone has to wait like 4 or 5 days until the home opener. Really not that much happening in the Philly sports world. The Phillies are eliminated from the playoffs as the baseball playoffs are underway into the championship series. The Eagles coming off of their Sunday games, and the Sixers starting their preseason. The bigger news: Ben Simmons actually hitting a 3-point jump shot, which was big news in the Philadelphia sports world. But then we get to Wednesday night for the Philadelphia Flyers home opener, and the offense, the team overall just looked a lot better. Solid defensively, took control a lot in the offensive zone, and just I can't credit enough what Carter Hart did in net. He was a brick wall, basically. He was a brick wall. There was no any open holes in the net for New Jersey to hit. He absolutely robbed Taylor Hall on that one-timer shot that we will get to later once we recap this game. So actually, with recapping this game, let's go into it. So first period, the Wells Fargo Center is rocking, like you said, Chris. It's on national television. Doc Emmerich's on the call. It's just the whole atmosphere with the new scoreboard, the louder sound system. You got Lauren Hart singing with the boy choir for the national anthem. Just a bunch of great events to start this game off. And just as the puck dropped for the first time in the Wells Fargo Center this for the regular season, just the crowd atmosphere was just simply amazing. In the first period, I would say it was a little bit of back and forth to start off with, but I feel like the Flyers were the more, I would say, dominant team, even though the shots didn't favor their way. The Flyers didn't really get their good of quality chances, but I think overall in that first period, the Flyers controlled more of the pace in the first period. And there was also a nice little ceremony there for Wayne Simmonds, who now is a member of the New Jersey Devils. A little like a minute honoring video for him for his time with the Philadelphia Flyers. I know a lot of people definitely shed tears watching that video, seeing Wayne Simmonds getting his standing ovation from the crowd. It was just something really nice to see. And then eventually the fans did boo him, which Wayne Simmonds did want, because he knows this city, he knows the crowd likes to boo the enemy, so he wanted to be booed coming into this game. So he got what he wanted. But I would say overall, that first period was, I would say, more dominated by the Flyers. So Chris, how would you recap this first period in your opinion?
I mean, I would put it really exactly just how you said it. I know the Devils did lead shots 10-6. I feel like the only line the Flyers were kind of stuck in their own zone with was the Hughes, Simmonds, and Colwyn line, which had a lot of chances in that first period. Jack Hughes, he had a lot of chances. He did try to split the D on one, and he got completely sandwiched between three guys. Simmonds had a couple nice shots. I feel like the Flyers, they controlled a lot of puck possession early in the first period, and that led into the second and third period as well. Even though they weren't generating shots, they were able to move the puck around, at least cycle it, and a lot of times they missed the net or the shots got blocked. So I thought the Flyers had a pretty dominant first period, even though the shots didn't tell it that way.
I completely agree, and the Flyers did get one power play in that first period. And I would say the power play actually this season is looking a lot better than it did last season with Michel Therrien running it. It just looks like there's a lot of more puck flow. It just looks a lot better. And now you have the simple Jake Voracek, Claude Giroux, Shane Gostisbehere, but now you have guys like Kevin Hayes and JVR down low, which I feel like can help with the puck possession better and keep control of the puck. And it looked a lot better on that power play. And Chris, definitely. I know you were going to say something.
I wanted to mention that you notice now that Gostisbehere is actually shooting the puck on the power play now. I think they've needed that to happen for the last few seasons. I'm so happy he's starting to go back to shooting. And honestly, as much as it's kind of weird seeing it, live and on TV, I like how they have Giroux on the right side and Voracek on the opposite side. They switched them. So like it's just the way that they're able to move the puck now. And I think that's really what they needed to do. I mean, another team that's like that is kind of like Toronto. I mean, they had Marner and Matthews on their one-timer sides, and they switched them. And Toronto's power play has looked pretty good in these last few games that they've played. So I feel like, the Flyers power play, it's looking well. I'm like, as you said about Kevin Hayes and Vidrine, like I'm liking what they have shown on the power play. Those two are definitely in sync with the other three who have been on the power play for the last few years. So I'm very excited to see what this power play can do, because if the Flyers special teams can get better, they're going to be a real dominant team this year.
Oh, I completely agree. And going back to what you said with the Claude Giroux and Jake Voracek being switched onto the opposite sides, at first I was a little skeptical about it because I was so used to having Giroux on his shooting side. Same thing with Jake Voracek. It's just like Claude Giroux's one-timer is so lethal. It's just like,
I definitely agree with you.
You're taking that away from him, but it does look like he has a lot more room to possess the puck when on the other side. And I guess other teams can predict the power play since it's been literally the same setup for years and years over.
Right.
So now switching it up a little bit, it can get the teams guessing a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that actually is a really good design there by Michel Therrien. Even though the Flyers did test it a little bit last season and it didn't work out that much, it looks like it's working for them right now. And now let's go into the second period. And the Flyers come out, lights out this period. Claude Giroux early on gets a short breakaway. And I was amazed at how this puck did not go into the net. Everyone in the arena thought the puck was in, but no, it hits the right post. And just everyone in the crowd was going crazy, like, "Whoa, where's that? I thought the puck was in the net." And it was like, no, it hits the post. And everyone was disappointed on there. And the Flyers do take a lot of penalties in this period, which is not a good thing, but we do manage to kill them off. Like 2 5-on-3s in this period. The first 5-on-3 we managed to kill off, and Raffl comes out of the box with a short breakaway, and Schneider stops it. And Raffl does also miss the net somewhat, but it's just 2 breakaways right there, and we can't cash it in right at all. But the Flyers do get a power play midway through the second period. It goes down to a little bit of the end of the power play, a little on the second unit, nice little passing play from Konechny and Niskanen to Ivan Provorov, who claps it past Corey Schneider to make it a 1-0 Flyers lead. And that's got to be a big confidence booster for Ivan Provorov, getting his first of the season. And honestly, in this first 2 games, he's looked pretty good. So that's got to be something. Very good. And just that goal right there, it's like, I'm not used to seeing Ivan Provorov just wind up. I'm used to him take that little, like, wide wrist shot. That's like the first time in a while I've seen him like really wind up and just let it go.
Yeah, well, I think
right there.
Yeah, and I think it's because he had so much time on it too. I mean, there was only a couple seconds left on the power play, and there was nobody on him. And thankfully, Lindblom was in front for the screen, because if that was on net, I feel like Schneider would have been an easy save.
Oh, definitely.
And another thing, like I want to bring up about the penalty kill too. The first 5-on-3, it wasn't that long of a 5-on-3. I think it was only like 12 seconds or so. But then the second 5-on-3, they had a lot of chances. I know Gusev had a really nice shot. The Taylor Hall wide open.
Oh boy,
Carter Hart.
God,
save of the year. I'm calling it now. The save of the year.
It's just those 2 penalties that we gave the Devils right there shouldn't even happen. Sean Couturier gets a delay of game for throwing the puck over the glass, and then Kevin Hayes does the stupid face-off violation.
Penalty.
Does the stupid face-off violation where you play the puck with your hand.
I thought you could do that. Like,
no, that's been a rule for a couple of years now.
Really? I thought you were able to move. I thought you just couldn't close your hand on it.
That's also a penalty, but it's been implemented for I think the past few seasons. You can't play the puck with your hand on the face-off.
Yeah, I thought it was like you could like throw it, like I guess scoop it back, or I don't know the word to put it. I guess glide it back to your defenseman, but he didn't, because I was thinking like, is that like a new rule change they did, or is it just that's been in there for a while? I didn't notice it because I've only seen a few penalties in the few years I've been watching hockey where there's just been they cover, like I've only seen it where they put their hand over the puck. I've never seen it where you're able to scoop it back, because there's been a few times where I've seen some Flyers games where Couturier or Giroux is throwing it back and they haven't called it. But then again, it was so blatant and the ref was kind of just looking at him as he did it. And I was wondering why they blew the whistle. I was like, oh my God. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, come on.
And it's just instantly right there that the 2-minute 5-on-3 for the New Jersey Devils, like you said, they do get a ton of chances. And then a nice passing play from Jack Hughes over to Taylor Hall, who has an insanely wide open net, but Carter Hart comes out of nowhere, sprawls out, and the puck goes off of his glove and out of the net. And like you said, save of the year. Save of the year.
Save of the year.
Who knows, in the NHL there might be better saves, but nothing can top that right now.
No, I think that's that's going to be top 3 of the number 1 Flyers related plays of the year.
Oh yeah, definitely. That definitely beats the David Dubnyk save from one of the season openers for the Minnesota Wild.
Oh, definitely. And I was so happy that the puck went out of his glove, because if you look at the replay from the overhead, that hit his glove, that was going to push it back and go over the line.
It's fun.
It looked like it went in too.
Yeah. Someone put a freeze frame picture of it on Twitter, and I was like, "Well, this is awkward," because it looked like
I thought it went in. And it was funny. At first, I'm watching the TV. I was like, "No, he did not just save that." I was like, "That had to hit the post." That had to hit the post. And then they looked at the replay. I was like, "Oh my God, there's no way." That was insane.
That was everyone's reaction in the Wells Fargo Center right there. As soon as Carter Hart made that save, I was honestly scared right there, because I knew it was wide open net. But then once I saw puck bounce out of Hart's glove, I was like, "What the hell just happened?"
That was a beautiful pass by Hughes too.
It was a beautiful pass.
He made it like he wasn't even looking at Hall. on that. He just kind of waited and passed it to him. I don't know how he missed that, but man,
It
that was a
was
great save.
it was something out of God right there.
That was a Dominic Hasek save.
Yeah, basically. So the Flyers do manage to kill off that 5-on-3 penalty going into the end of the second period. The second period ends with a score of 1-0. Flyers lead in shots by a total of 15-17 after two. And then going into the third period, the Flyers do get an early power play, and it is Kevin Hayes off the faceoff. I guess this kind of confuses Corey Schneider a little bit because he didn't expect it. Claude Giroux wins the faceoff. Kevin Hayes takes the pucks and buries it right into the net for a 2-0 Flyers lead on the power play. And Kevin Hayes gets his first goal of the season. And like I said, I think Corey Schneider just didn't expect this to happen at all.
Nah, I think his winger. If you look at the face-off of the overhead view of it, I think Hayes' winger. I can't remember who took the face-off. It was either Giroux or Couturier, or it could have been Hayes. I don't know who
Giroux.
Was it Giroux? Yeah, because Hayes came in from the left side, and whoever the defenseman or the winger just lost Hayes, and he was wide open, and he just shot it 5. I didn't even know it went in. I didn't even see it go in. I just heard the horn go off. I was like, yeah. And then later, Couturier got one too. That was a nice play.
This it was literally like a little over 20 seconds later. Ivan Provorov comes up the left side, takes the shot, goes off of Corey Schneider, can't control the rebound, and then the puck dabbles a little bit off of Oscar Lindblom, and then Sean Couturier finds the loose puck and buries it in for his first of the season to make it 3-0. And
he had a lot of chances tonight too.
Yeah, the Wells Fargo Center is just going absolutely nuts at this point.
Yeah,
3-0 Flyers lead. Carter Hart with that fantastic save. Your team is playing great in your home opener. What else more can you ask for a Flyers fan that night? It was just something simply amazing right there. And then we go midway through the third period. Sean Couturier's line is out once again. It's a little bit of a big mishap by the Devils here. Corey Schneider gives it to Kyle Palmieri. He brings it up. He loses an edge. He falls over. Travis Konecny takes the puck right from him after he falls and just walks right up to Corey Schneider, puts it through 5-hole, makes it 4-0. His third goal of the season, and Travis Konecny is a man on a mission after his 2-goal game in the Czech Republic, gets another goal in the home opener. Just Travis Konecny looks like a completely different player right now.
Oh yeah, he has so much confidence in his game right now.
Yeah, I love the chemistry. I love the fact how much chemistry that he has on that line with Couturier and Oscar Lindblom.
Oh yeah, keeping Lindblom on that second line was one of the best moves they did.
And having Konecny play with Couturier, who he's probably been used to for the past couple of seasons right now.
Oh, yeah.
Someone he's very familiar with. And giving Oscar Lindblom a chance to play on that second line, build this guy's confidence up to get his offensive game going. That's something really important down the line because Oscar Lindblom is a really good 200-foot type of player. And he does have an offensive upside. He just hasn't been able to bring that out fully into the NHL level. And I feel like playing on this line with Konecny and Sean Couturier, Oscar Lindblom can find that offensive capabilities that he had over when playing in Europe.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if everything goes right for the Flyers, they should be as of now they're getting the secondary scoring that they said they've needed. But I mean, we're only 2 games into the year, and none of your high name players, Giroux, Voracek, Gostisbehere, haven't been getting the points or the goals yet. Thankfully, they've had the secondary scoring and the guys to get the puck in the net. Provorov with the 1 goal that no one really expected. Raffl getting one in the Czech Republic. So thankfully that I know it's going to take some time, but everyone has been looking really well for the Flyers right now, even though they haven't been getting that first line scoring, those high end guys that you expect to score every night. They're getting the secondary scoring, which is what they're going to need down the stretch.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see that the depth scoring is showing up for the Flyers right now. Like guys like Claude Giroux, Kevin Hayes, who only have 1 point on the year, they're eventually going to wake up. It's a line that Claude Giroux's not used to. He's playing with Kevin Hayes for the first time. Those guys are going to eventually. Those guys look like they have chemistry already. It's just the matter of time before they start putting pucks into the net.
Yeah, and Voracek played majority. Voracek played a majority of last season and even the year before on the second and third line. So
Yes.
this is kind of the first time in a while he's been on the first line, getting those top line minutes. So I'm sure that that's going to take some time to adjust to too. And plus, Drew has played a majority of his career that last 2-3 years with Couturier.
Yes.
And I like how they have, putting Hayes up there that adds more depth in the lineup with Couturier. It's a really good lineup looking right now for the Flyers.
Oh yeah, definitely. It just I know someone compared the first two lines for the Flyers to be like this is a possible two number one lines on if you put Sean Couturier, Travis Konechny, Oscar Lindblom on another team, that could possibly be another first line.
Oh yeah,
So people are comparing this. The Flyers have two first lines as the top two,
yeah,
which is something nice to see. And the defensive pairings right now have looked pretty solid. I've liked
oh
what
yeah,
the defense has brought. I love what Niskanen and Braun have brought to this team so far. The physicality from Braun, Niskanen's able to bring the puck up, also playing the defensive zone. It's just it looks like they're making the younger guys more comfortable to go up into the play.
yeah,
Provorov looks
definitely.
a lot more comfortable. Travis Sanheim looks a lot more comfortable. Gostisbehere looks a lot more comfortable on that power play. He's actually
Oh,
taking shots.
definitely.
Ugh. And Robert Haig, eh. He's okay.
Yeah,
I don't know how to judge
I
Robert.
don't hate Hag. I don't necessarily like Hag. Is there someone better? Yes. I
Phil
think Sam.
Myers.
I think Phil Myers, Sam Warren. I think they can both take his spot. But as of now, I've liked what Hag's done these last few games. He did take a penalty the other night as well, but I feel like he's been pretty solid so far. He had a couple big hits the other night. Hag's always been the physical kind of guy.
Yep.
Um, if you throw Niskanen or I like how they've had the Niskanen with Sanheim. I mean, I know Sanheim had a great offensive year last year. You put Niskanen on that bottom line. Then again, I think it's good that you also have another older defenseman on that third pairing because he's older in age too. Niskanen had I think over 20 minutes of ice time last year. He might have been tired as well. So I mean, it's good that they have Alain Vigneault. He's able to spread out the pairings. It's not as much as what we both thought that the defensive pairings were going to be with Provorov with Niskanen on the first unit and Braun with Sanheim. I've liked how they've had Hag with Braun, and then Hag with Gostisbehere, and then Provorov with Braun, and then Sanheim and Niskanen. I've liked how they've done that. I think I think that adds a lot more depth into the defensive pairings. I mean, really, you could throw any of the six guys with anyone, and it would still be a good pairing because they just have good depth on defense. Even if you take out Hag and you throw in Morin, maybe you take out someone else and you put in Myers, they still have good defensive pairing. So I've really liked what I've seen from the defense so far.
I completely agree with you 100%. And then game ends. Flyers win 4-0. 3 stars of this game. Third star Sean Couturier. Second star Ivan Provorov. And your number one star of the game. It was completely obvious that it was Carter Hart. Carter Hart
Definitely.
was the god of the game. He just looked brilliant. It's just I can't credit him enough for how good he played in this game. Carter
So
Hart
solid.
is the real deal.
Oh
He
yeah.
is the savior of this franchise that he was so hyped up to be, and he is proving it right now. And I love it. I
I
love
love
it
it too.
so much.
Have you
And
have you seen what Kevin Weeks on NHL Network said about Carter Hart save?
no, I have not. What
He
did he
said
say?
it was the best save he has ever seen.
Best save he has ever seen. Ooh, and Kevin
Yes.
Weeks, a former goaltender in this league. That's
Yeah,
something.
that is something.
That
He
is
played for
very
a few teams, Rangers, Devils,
Hurricanes.
Hurricanes.
Yep. There's also one top, like off of the Flyers for a little bit from this on the New Jersey side, Jack Hughes, and all the games that he has played with the Devils this year, he's looked really good. Just
Oh yeah.
hasn't found a way to put the puck in the back of the net.
No.
And there's already people right now that are calling this kid a bust. He's overrated and all that stuff.
It's ridiculous.
It's
How do
only
you
been a
expect
couple.
someone to play on a third line with Blake Coleman, a guy who doesn't necessarily get points? He's a grinder. He has some speed. Wayne Simmons, a guy his points have dipped the last few seasons. He's battled injuries. How do you expect him to come in and score? Like, what are they expecting him? A hat trick every night?
Yeah,
I mean, come on. It's
they
ridiculous. I
they
mean,
expect people expect everyone number one overall pick to come in and play like Connor McDavid.
No, and there hasn't been a generational talent from Connor McDavid. Before was Ovechkin and Crosby, and maybe Marc-Andre Fleury. It's been almost 10, 11, 12 years. I mean, come on. Like, what do you expect? Connor McDavid was the number one pick. Austin Matthews had hype, not as much as McDavid. I mean, like, Nico Hischier, that was kind of just like a draft that was just like, we didn't know who the number one pick was until literally they announced the pick because it was just so tight and there wasn't the standout player.
That draft was a weak draft class.
That was a very weak draft class.
Yeah. And Jack Hughes, I know, had a lot of hype going into this draft, but he's not Connor McDavid. He's not Sidney Crosby.
Oh.
He's not every rookie is going to come in and light the lamp. It's going to take a few games for him to adjust.
And he's looked well. I mean, he's had some chances. He's played pretty good.
Yeah, he's looked really good. He just can't find his luck to put the puck in the net or just get the points.
I mean, it's going to take some time. I don't expect the kid to be, getting in a slump, but I'm expecting maybe, first 8, maybe 5 to 8 games without a point, and then maybe starting to pick up the points a little bit. I mean, I'm sure he could get around 30, 35 points this year, and even that could be an understatement. I mean, you never know how the kid plays. So,
honestly, I would like to see if they would test him putting on the second line, putting him on the first line with Taylor Hall. I would like to see that for Jack Hughes because I think him and Taylor Hall.
Well, then where do you put Nico Hischier?
Put him on the second line. But I know what you mean right there. You can't take Hischier off that first line. That's been his spot for the past few seasons.
Yeah, Hischier's played well with Taylor Hall. Who is their second line center?
I'm honestly not sure who their second line center is. Honestly, I could not tell you that.
I know Palmieri's a winger, and he's just the guy that puts the puck in the net.
Is it Gusev?
No, Gusev's a winger.
Gusev's
a right wing. Yeah.
Okay. As Chris looks up who is the second line center for the New Jersey Devils, it's just going off of Jack Hughes. It's just any rookie that is drafted first overall. There's just been this weird conception that every number one overall draft pick has to come in and light the lamp immediately, and that's everyone expected that with Nico Hischier. Everyone expected that for Nolan Patrick. It's just I hate constantly using those two guys from a weak draft class. Because I know players like Austin Matthews, he won Rookie of the Year because he scored a lot of goals. Nail Yakupov, he was a very hyped up first overall pick. He was a bust.
Yeah, he has done nothing.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was a first overall pick. Hasn't been. He's a good player. Hasn't been that elite type talent that what a first overall pick usually goes into. And it's just I hate the argument that every first overall pick has to light the lamp as soon as they step foot on the ice.
No,
I just don't like happen. It's not going to happen every single time. It's that once in a lifetime player that's going to do that. Yeah. The Connor McDavids, the Sidney Crosbys, the Ovechkins. It's those players come around every 5-10 years.
Right. That second line center was Travis Zajac.
Travis Zajac, that's the guy.
Yeah. They, I know these line pairings aren't right, but the other night it was Hall, Hischier, Palmieri. That was their first line, right?
Yes.
Then they had their second line was Zajac. On this website, it says Colbin, Zajac, Wood, and then Zacha, Hughes, Simmons, and then Gusev, Rooney, and Jesper Bratt on the fourth line. So it's kind of I guess it was just before the season kind of thing, but that was their lineup. I know it wasn't the same lines. I know their third line was Hughes, Simmons, and Coleman. I don't, because there was a while where Zacha wasn't going to sign, and then I know he did sign, but I don't think has he played well?
Not really.
Yeah, I don't really see much out of him.
Yeah, he hasn't been the hyped up draft pick when they drafted him a couple of years ago. Yeah. He hasn't been really that standout player, but they're expecting him to do that eventually. Yeah.
How do you think Subban was the other night?
He was okay.
Yeah, even though he got roasted by Gritty.
Oh yeah, he did. Definitely got roasted by Gritty right there. That was a funny little moment.
That was funny.
It was very funny. And wrapping up this game analysis from the home opener, really impressive game by the Flyers right there. The atmosphere in the Wells Fargo Center was incredible. Carter Hart is a stone brick wall. And just overall, it's a really good game. Right now, I'm not going to overhype a lot, but just in these first two games, it feels different with this team right now. It just feels different with the system that Alain Vigneault has brought. The team looks more energized. They looked more amped and ready to go in these first two games. But I digress. It's only been two games so far. And we have a Western Conference road trip, or Western Canadian road trip actually coming up this weekend and into next week. And we will get to that in a bit. But first, we are going to pause for a word from our sponsor.
Hi, I'm Mark, and I'm one of the hosts of Massive Late Fee. Do you remember Blockbuster? Well, we do, and we racked up a lot of late fees there. That's why we're glad there's things like Netflix, Hulu, and Blockbuster has died, mostly because of us. We cover streaming shows and pretty much whatever we want. Join us every Thursday as we talk TV and movies on Massive Late Fee. You can find us at Massive Late Fee on Twitter, Massive Late Fee on Facebook. You can email the show at massivelatefee@gmail.com, and you can find us at MySpace, Massive Late Fee. Massive Late Fee, the best podcast we can think of.
And welcome back to the Flyered Up podcast. During the break, we were talking about, me and Chris, for like a little like jokey conversation at like how NHL Network like overhyped the New Jersey Devils just because they thought they had the best offseason out of every NHL team. And the Devils have not won a game yet. So, yeah. So, NHL Network, I think you overhyped the Devils a little bit, but I do digress. It's only been 4 or 5 games into the season for most NHL teams. So that can change in a heartbeat. But as of right now, a little bit of overhype. And I like what Flyers Twitter did after that game when they posted audio from NHL Network and then they just showed the standings, having the Devils, no wins and all their losses. That was... I honestly like whoever runs the Flyers Twitter account right now needs an incredible pay raise because they're just absolutely funny.
Apparently, it used to be the guy who used to do the Phillies Instagram account, and it was back in like 2015 and on, and then he stopped. And he used to like the way that the Phillies used to do it. It was back when the Phillies were horrible. Like they had like it was back when like I think like Ryan Howard was still on the team when he was so bad, and he used to like whenever they post something, he would respond to just about every comment. He was the best.
It's funny how you bring it when the Phillies used to be bad. They're still bad.
I know.
That they are still terrible.
Well, Gabe Kapler's gone. It should be better.
Maybe. The front office is a little sketchy, but I digress. So off the Phillies because I don't want to talk about them, and that's not what this podcast is about. Oh. So let's get into the little bit of the upcoming games right now for the Philadelphia Flyers, specifically the Western Canadian road trip that's going to be happening starting. If you're listening to this podcast, I would assume it would be tonight, but we were recording this on Friday night at 11 something. So right now this is tomorrow for us, but for you, whoever is listening, this will be tonight. They play Saturday night, 10 p.m. against the Vancouver Canucks. And currently into the standings, the Canucks are 1-2 after playing 3 games. They absolutely, for their first win of the season, they destroyed the LA Kings by a score of 8-2. But the Canucks, they have a lot of good young talent. I'll give them that. They have a lot of good young talent. I loved what I saw from Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson. He's incredibly dangerous. Brock Besser, Bo Horvat. Markstrom, honestly, he's a solid goaltender. And they also have Thatcher Demko, who is their savior of the franchise in net for them. But I'm confident that the Flyers can go into Vancouver and get a win.
I am too.
And also Alain Vigneault facing his former team. So that's also a nice story right there. Mm-hmm. And Chris, like, what are your thoughts going into the game tonight versus Vancouver?
I mean, I think the Vancouver, it's not going to be what we've seen the last 2 games from the Flyers where they kind of owned. I think it's going to be back and forth. The Canucks, as you said, they have they have a lot of good solid offensive players. Besser, Horvat, Pettersson. They have a lot of good players. The only thing is their defense is a little weak. I know they do have a good goaltender, but I think it's going to be a close one. I think the Flyers, I'm going to predict an overtime win from the Flyers.
Oh yeah, it's not Flyers, but overtime within like the first 5 games of the season. So I kind of do agree with you. I feel like this game is either going to go into an overtime or a shootout, but I do believe the Flyers will pull out a win in this game against the Vancouver Canucks. I'll say, I'll say 3-2, 3-2 in the
I
overtime.
was gonna say 4-3.
4-3. Okay. So predictions are right there for tonight's game. So
Mhm.
let's go a couple days later on Tuesday the 15th, a 9 p.m. game Eastern time against the Calgary Flames. And currently in the standings, Calgary has played 4 games so far. They are 2-1-1. And Calgary, they were in the playoffs last season, and they, just like Vancouver, they have a lot of good talent on their roster. Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, Giordano, who won the Norris Trophy last year, Riddick, who's their goaltender, who honestly came out of nowhere. Like he was an ant goaltender when he first came to Calgary, but he has actually been pretty good the past 2 seasons. So Calgary, a little bit of a dangerous team like right there. So Chris, what are your thoughts going into the game against Calgary?
I'm hoping the Flyers can play well against Calgary. They have a lot of good players. I feel like they're leaning towards more of like. I think Calgary I think they're gonna make the playoffs this year. I think I don't have them as high anymore. Now that that we've played a few games into the season, I don't think that they're gonna be as high in the standings as they were last year. I know it is only a few games into the year. It just doesn't look like it as of right now. But then again, you can't really say much. But I'm hoping that the Flyers can go into Calgary. I hope they can get a win. I don't think it's going to happen though. I'm going to say the Flyers are going to fall in regulation, get the first loss of the year. I just don't see the Flyers getting coming out of this road trip 3-0. I just don't. They haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, I do agree they're not going to go 3-0 on this road trip. I see more of a possibly a 1-1-1 with this road trip, but who knows what would happen with the Flyers right now. But I think with this Calgary game, this is going to be the first game we see Brian Elliott in net because it's because we have a back-to-back with Calgary and then the following night against the Edmonton Oilers, who are 4-0 currently on the season.
Yeah, they're playing really well right now.
And honestly, if I were Lane Vigneault, I would want to start Carter Hart against a team that's 4-0.
I was just going to say that.
So you put Brian Elliott slotting in there against Calgary. Flyers win, they might lose. Who knows? Against Calgary, then we go into Edmonton. You put Carter Hart in the net. Edmonton, who has been very dangerous so far. James Neal scoring 7 goals in 4 games with the Edmonton Oilers. That even though that's a lot of credit to playing with Connor McDavid, but I honestly I say not anyone playing with Connor McDavid is going to do that, but it just feels like if you could just slot an average player with Connor McDavid and he'll play good because Connor McDavid makes his line mates a lot better.
You could put Nail Yakupov with Connor McDavid and he'd probably put up like, I don't know. I mean, maybe like 5 goals in like 3 games, something like that.
You can put you put Joe from the corner down the street and he'll play good with Connor McDavid.
Exactly. You could put literally someone who's you could put someone who's never touched the ice in their life, probably has no clue what hockey is, would play good with Connor McDavid.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, I think Carter Hart's going to start this game from the back-to-back. And I feel like this is going to be more of the tough game for the Flyers right now, just because how good Edmonton has been offensively. And just the fact that they're playing a lot better under their new coaching system with Dave Tippett. And it's just, I'm not sure with this game so far. It's like with Calgary, Edmonton, like I said, I think the Flyers might go 1-1-1 on this road trip. So I think they win in Vancouver. They lose to Calgary, I think, in regulation, but I think they're going to lose to Edmonton in either the overtime or the shootout.
I was going to say win in Vancouver, lose in Calgary in regulation, win in Vancouver in regulation, and then in Edmonton, I was going to say they win in a shootout, 2-1.
Ooh. A goaltending battle right there in Edmonton.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got Carter Hart. You got, I'm assuming, Mikko Koskinen. I don't know.
Or Mike Smith.
Yeah, Mike Smith. Which is most likely, I would think, would be Koskinen because Koskinen is their starter, right?
It's a weird situation because I know they extended Koskinen before they fired their GM, but they also brought in Mike Smith, who started opening night for them.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure if it's like a 1A, 1B situation with the goaltenders in Edmonton right now.
Yeah, I guess they don't have it figured out yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they have it. I think Koskinen has got most of the starts though for Edmonton.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's. I mean, both of them are actually pretty decent goalies. They're not great. They're not horrible. Mike Smith has been better the last few years. He didn't look too. He looked okay in Calgary. Probably could have played better. Kind of just like James Neal. But yeah, I'm gonna predict a Flyers 2-1 shootout win, and I'm gonna say shootout goal. I'm gonna say Couturier in the shootout.
Sean Couturier. So I'm sticking with my gut right here. I feel that the Flyers go 1-1-1 on this road trip. A win in Vancouver, loss in regulation to Calgary, and a loss in the overtime or the shootout to Edmonton Oilers. I would say Calgary, if they lose in regulation, I'll say 3-2. Against Edmonton, overtime or the shootout, I'll say I feel the same score, 3-2. Just because there's a lot of good offensive players on both sides, but then you also got Carter Hart in it, possibly playing in Edmonton. Who knows what Alain Vigneault is going to do? And then you also got decent goaltenders over there with Edmonton. So who knows what's going to happen? But that's what the upcoming road trip for the Flyers right now looks like for this Western Conference, well, Western Canada actually. And then they come back two nights later against the Dallas Stars. But we'll look further into that once this Western Canadian road trip comes halfway through or comes to a halt after the game in Edmonton. So, after talking about these standings, let's go into a little bit more of the overall NHL right now. Even though it's only been 3 or 4 or 5 games into the season, let's go over the standings because why not? Because that's a fun thing to look at.
Yeah.
So let's start with the Eastern Conference. Let's start with the Metropolitan Division because why not? The Carolina Hurricanes, 4 games played, 4-0. They look scary.
They do.
Carolina looks absolutely deadly. And that team just looks like they have a lot of fun playing with each other.
Yeah.
It's just, they just look deadly. I have nothing else to explain. They just look scary.
Peter Mrazek has played phenomenal with them last year and the first few games of this year.
Yeah, talk about a change of scenery for a
Yeah,
player.
really.
Yeah, he's really thrived over there in Carolina. Honestly, I thought he was going to have a little bit of a setback this year, but the way they've been playing so far, I think he's found his new home for a long time. Yeah. And hopefully, because I do like Peter Mrazek in his little stint with the Flyers, but I knew the Flyers weren't going to keep him because we had Carter Hart coming up eventually. But it's nice that he found a home in Carolina and he's enjoying it right now, and he's playing good. So kudos to Peter Mrazek. Next, in second place, we got the Washington Capitals. 5 games played. They are currently 2-1-2 on the season with 6 points. And Washington, I would say they looked very sluggish at home because currently right now they're 0-2 at home. And I really don't know how to judge this team right now.
I don't either. I'm thinking they might have a setback because they haven't looked good in overtime or shootout either.
Yeah, majority of the games have gone.
Hence the 2 overtime losses. Kind of the same thing with New Jersey with the 2 overtime losses, losing once in a shootout, or actually twice in a shootout. But I mean, the Devils, they've played okay. I know the other night they did win last night, no, they lost last night. They lost to Nashville. Nashville beat them 6-5, I believe.
I think so. And I think they lost 6-5 to Nashville actually. Mm-hmm. And haven't majority of these games for the Capitals gone to overtime?
Majority of them, yeah.
Kind
of the same thing with the Devils.
So I know they won the opening game in St. Louis in overtime. I know they lost 2 overtime games at home.
Yeah.
And then they lost that game to Nashville in regulation.
Yeah, so I think they lost to Dallas, I think, at home in overtime.
Yeah. And right now I don't know how to judge the Capitals. They got a lot of Ovechkin, even though he's still unhuman. The man is not human. He's still on the wrong side of 30. But I still feel like Obi's going to have a good season for the Washington Capitals. But they do have guys going into their contract years with Nick Backstrom and Braden Holtby. So I would say for the Capitals right now, I still feel like their window, they have to win something this year. Definitely. So we'll go to third place in the Metro Division. We have the New York Rangers. Even though they've only played 2 games so far, they have 4 points. And one player that stands out for me from the New York Rangers, Mika Zibanejad. The guy has 8 points. Mm-hmm. And he had a hat trick against the Ottawa Senators.
Right. He's got 8 points in 2 games.
Yeah. It's just, there's not too much to judge with the Rangers since they've only played 2 games so far. But kudos to Mika Zibanejad. That's one of the only guys I like on the Rangers.
Oh, yeah, same. He's
Yeah,
one of the only. I liked him on Ottawa too.
Yeah. Yeah, so Rangers off to a little bit of a good start right here in their first 2 games. Then you have the Flyers in 4th place in their first 2 games going 2-0. And then you got in 5th place the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are 2-2 in their 4 games played. And all their games have been at home, actually.
Yeah.
So very surprisingly. And Pittsburgh kind of looks a little bit sluggish. I know there's been recent news with Evgeny Malkin with his lower body injury. He's going to be out for at least, I think, 4 or 5 weeks.
He's out for at least a month.
At least a month.
Yeah, and Nick Bukestad.
Yeah, that's kind of a big blow to the Pittsburgh Penguins right there.
Yeah.
I know there was like rumors that Malkin might have been close to being like maybe like season-ending injury, but it wasn't like going to be that extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But so I thought it was going to be like maybe like a couple months, but I didn't expect it to be as short as a month. So that's good news for the Penguins right there, that it's not to that big extent of an injury, but it's still hurtful for the beginning of the season. You're losing a big guy in Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah.
So that's going to hurt regardless. And honestly, the Penguins, our team, I don't know how to judge either.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know how to judge them.
Yeah. I know Crosby, he was day-to-day. They lost Brian Russ as well. That's 4 of their top 6 players, top 9. You could really throw Rust anywhere, but like as you said, I don't know how to judge them because they've played okay. They haven't played amazing to watch out for Pittsburgh, but like they won last night. They beat the Ducks. They did lose to the Jets. They blew out Columbus, and then they lost to Buffalo. That's another surprising team. We'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, that's actually kind of weird because Buffalo and Winnipeg honestly, they're 2 teams that are very beatable from the Pittsburgh side. Honestly, if you look at Pittsburgh's schedule, that's 4 teams that you could go 4-0. The Sabres, Blue Jackets, Jets, and Anaheim.
I would agree.
That's if they have everyone healthy, that's a 4-0 start.
I would completely agree. Yeah. But as you said, with the injuries right now, I don't know how to judge this team.
Yeah,
because they're not a fully healthy team.
Right, and besides the blowout game, they've only scored 1 goal, and 2 goals.
Yeah.
In those other games, and Columbus, they're just not a good team.
I agree. And
that's I think goal scoring is going to be a problem for Pittsburgh this year. As at least what it looks like so far.
Yeah. And going past Pittsburgh, 6th place, we have the New York Islanders. A little bit of a sluggish start to their season. I really feel like they're missing off of not re-signing Robin Lehner to a contract. And the Islanders, even though it's only been 3 games, can't judge them right now. It's too early to judge. Yeah. But very true the system. I'm confident they'll rebound and get better. And the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're off to a 1-3 start in their 4 games played. They just haven't looked good overall.
No.
It's their goaltending that it's going to lose in their games. That's simple as that.
Yeah.
And then you have the New Jersey Devils in 8th place, who are 0-2 with 2 points. So let's go to the Atlantic Division. And a team that you said was really surprising right now is the Buffalo Sabres. In their 5 games played, they are 4-0-1 with 9 points. And yeah, this team has looked really good in the opening starts. But let's digress a little bit right here because Buffalo got off to a really hot start last season and they collapsed.
Yeah.
Much
like that 10-game win streak in December and then went south.
Exactly like that. And so right now, not going to judge Buffalo after what happened last season, but kudos to them for getting off to this nice start. And 2nd place, you got Detroit. 4 games played, 3-1.
Anthony Mantha.
Yeah, Mantha has been laying for them.
He's a goal scorer. He was drafted as a goal scorer. He's real good. I've always liked Anthony Mantha. I feel like the Red Wings are. I really don't see them as being a threat, if you want to call it, but like they're playing pretty good right now. And if they get the goaltending with Bernier and Howard, I think they might have a case for themselves here. Honestly, if they continue, that's if they continue. It's way too early to
judge
even.
Anything.
Yeah, we're only 4 games in. They still have 78 games left to go. So, you never know that they could lose the next 78 games.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
But it's cool seeing Anthony Mantha registering 6 goals, 2 points, 2 assists for 8 points to start the season for them. It's nice for them. And then you got 3rd place. You got Boston in their 4 games, 3-1. Haven't really seen much of Boston. They played all their games on the road, actually, which is pretty weird. Haven't seen one home game in Boston yet.
They had a 2-0 lead last night, and they lost to Colorado.
Yep. So Boston, pretty good start to the season for them. Tampa Bay, they were off to a little bit of a sluggish start, but they got Brayden Point back for their last game in Toronto, and he lit it up. Tampa Bay won 7-3 against the Maple Leafs, and to start their season, they're 2-1-1. And Tampa, even though they still have a ton of threats, I feel like they're not going to be as dominant as they were last year. They're not going to replicate what they did last season.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Tampa, if Tampa's good, they can't be streaky like they are. I mean, already they're not. I mean, Stamkos coming out and saying they're like, we need to be better. I mean, you've only played 3 games. Do you really expect to be 3-0? I mean, it's really every team in this league is good. It's not like, there's teams that just try to tank. Right. Yeah. It's not like every team is like Ottawa where they're trying there's teams in this league, like every team at least has one star player on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And every team can build around them. They're professional athletes for a reason. If they all gel together, like Tampa is not going to go 82-0. And Tampa is not going to, break the record for the most points, get the record for the most wins. I don't think they're going to win the President's Trophy as of right now, because if that's what Steven Stamkos thinks, a couple, like 3, 4, 5 games into the season, then he's crazy. Because if you really think that you were going to come out and dominate in these games when you know that your division is honestly pretty tough with Florida, Toronto, Boston, Buffalo making a case for themselves, Montreal making a case for themselves, it's ridiculous how Stamkos actually thinks that they should really be at least undefeated or maybe have one loss right now. That boggles my mind.
I completely agree with you. And then after Tampa Bay, we got 5th place the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are 2-1 in their 5 games played. And a major key I see with Toronto right now is their defense has not been good.
Yeah, they started the season 2-0, and they've been on a 3-game losing streak. Blew a 4-1 lead to the Canadiens last Saturday and ended up losing 6-5 in a shootout, even though they did tie the game late with a nice goal by Matthews. But that was a horrible game. They had some guys come in and score. Nylander got his first goal. Kerfoot got his first goal as a Leaf. That's just a game you need to win. In games this early in the season, games that you have control of for more than 2 periods, you need to win. I mean, especially with that division, as I just said, there's at least 6 teams in this division right now that can maybe make the playoffs. That's ridiculous how you lose that game. I mean, last night they get killed by Tampa at home. And the game before that, it was kind of just like they actually played the Blues. They lost 3-2, and that was kind of just like they really didn't show much in that game. There wasn't much to them. They beat Ottawa, beat Columbus, kind of 2 games I expected them to win. They should have beat
2
Montreal.
bad teams.
Yeah, I know. Montreal, they should have won that game. They've had a lot of home games, only playing 1 game on the road.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I feel Toronto, they just have to get their defense better. That's the one thing they need to improve on.
Yeah.
So going to 6th place, we have the Montreal Canadiens. They played 4 games. They have gone 1-2. And it's same thing. I just don't know how to judge Montreal. I like the way some of their offensive guys have been playing. I especially love Max Domi. I love what he's turned into since coming to Montreal. I just like Max Domi a lot.
Yeah.
And then we have 7th place. We have the Florida Panthers. In their 4 games, they are 1-1 with 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's actually played pretty well. They beat Tampa Bay on home ice in their home opener. They honestly dominated that first game of the year against Tampa Bay, even though they lost 5-3. They generated a lot of shots. They had more than double of the shots that Tampa had through the second period, even though they couldn't score, which is mainly because of Andrei Vasilevsky, one of the best goalies in the league, which is another thing that's going to bail Tampa Bay out this year for majority of the year if they don't step up. But Florida's looked pretty well. The only thing that scares me with Florida right now is their goaltending, as Bobrovsky has not played good.
Yeah, their goal differential right now is a -6. They've only scored 11 goals for and given up 17.
Yeah.
So Bob has to play a lot better.
They got killed by Carolina.
Yeah, Bob is making a ton of money for a reason. and he has played better.
Yeah. Yeah. First game they lost 5-2 to Tampa. Then they beat Tampa at home in the home opener. Lost to Carolina on the 8th, 6-3, and then lost tonight, lost 3-2 in a shootout to the Sabres.
Yes. So let's go to 8th place, the well-expected team to be down that basement of the Atlantic Division. The Ottawa Senators. They are 0-3. They suck.
They're bad.
That's all you have to say about the Ottawa Senators.
Put up a fight last night against St. Louis, and St. Louis actually came out on top. I was surprised. The Rangers killed them, and the Leafs. That was just unfair.
Yeah. Ottawa's not good.
No.
So I feel bad for all the Ottawa fans out there that are just going through what this team's going through. I'm sorry, your team is just not.
Yeah, your team sucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Just one goal away from the finals in 2017, and now you're in this whole the dumpster fire right now. I'm sorry, Ottawa, what you're going through right now.
That's horrible.
I feel so bad for them. Okay, so getting out of the Eastern Conference finally. This has honestly taken way longer than I expected, but
yeah,
what matters? So let's go to the Central Division. In first place, honestly expected the St. Louis Blues. They are 3-0-1 in their 4 games played.
Yeah, St. Louis, they played pretty well. They honestly probably should have lost last night to Ottawa, but they came out with a win, even though Jake Allen didn't play that good.
Oh boy, Jake Allen.
Yeah, he didn't really play good last night at all. That was such a weird game, too. It was like back and forth. It was 3-2, 3-3, and then it was 4-3, 4-4, 5-4, like, and it was all in the span of like one period. It was insane. St. Louis, they did beat Toronto. They've actually played pretty decent. They beat the Stars at home, and then the only game they lost was against the Capitals at home on the first night when Vrana had that opening night overtime winner. They've had 2 home games, 2 away games, so St. Louis is actually looking pretty well. They're definitely keeping that Stanley Cup resume up there for them. I think they're going to be a force to reckon with in that division.
I definitely agree with you. So second place, we have the Colorado Avalanche, who are one of the remaining undefeated teams so far in the NHL. They are currently 3-0 with 6 points. And same thing with St. Louis. I feel like Colorado is going to be a major threat in that division. They have so many weapons in that lineup. It's not even funny.
I know.
So many weapons. So let's go to third place in the Central Division is the Nashville Predators. They are currently 3-1-0 in their 4 games played. And same thing, Nashville is a top team in that division. A lot of weapons on that team. They have Pekka Rinne and net. It's just Nashville is a team that may not be as good, but I don't see them dropping off. So I still see them as being a top team in that division contending for the playoffs. And then we have fourth place, which is the Winnipeg Jets. They are currently 3-2-0 with 6 points. And get this, Patrick Laine is their leading point getter with assists more than goals, which is very funny.
That is funny.
3 goals, 7 assists for 10 points. He's tied with Connor McDavid for the league.
That's crazy.
It's very crazy. And also, they were losing 4-0 to the New Jersey Devils in one game, and they came back from a 4-0 deficit. So, yeah. Also another reason why the Devils aren't good.
No.
Also another reason.
Can't hold a lead, just like Toronto.
Basically. So, we go to fifth place, who are the injury-riddled Dallas Stars right now. They are currently 1-3-1 with 3 points. They're just injury riddled right now. They don't have that much depth.
Yeah, they really should have won last night against Calgary too. That had the penalty shot in overtime, then lost the shootout. Yeah, Dallas, they're just just like you said, injury riddled team. Lost Roman Polak in the first game of the year. Lost that game 2-1. Lost to the Blues, then lost to the Red Wings. Beat the Capitals in overtime, and then lost yesterday at home against Calgary 3-2.
Yep. So let's go to sixth place in the Central Division. Only playing 2 games, which is as expected from the Chicago Blackhawks because of the whole Czech Republic game. They are currently 0-2-0 on the season.
Yeah,
and they lost to San Jose 5-4 after losing to the home opener against the Flyers.
Yeah. Chicago just, I don't even know what to say. They're just,
you can't judge it. It's only been 2 games.
Yeah, it's only been 2 games. There just really isn't much to say they have. Yeah. It's not like they haven't played bad. They scored 5 goals last night.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's too much. It's not. I would say the goaltending isn't there right now. But
yeah,
it's still not that much to judge on right now.
right.
So 0-2 after 2 games for Chicago. Then we go to the last place in the Central, 7th place, which is the Minnesota Wild, who are currently 0-3.
Yeah.
And Minnesota, like I said, just not a good team.
No.
They have not as bad as Ottawa. They're just not good. They're too old.
They have some players just can't get it done. They don't have the young talent.
Yeah,
they honestly have nothing, and all of their players that they should have built around a long time ago are just too old right now.
Yeah, they're just a very old team. I think they're one of the oldest teams in the NHL.
Yeah,
actually, might be the oldest team in the NHL. Not too sure about that, but I think they are the oldest team.
Dubnyk's pretty old. Suter's old. Stahl's old.
Parise,
right? Dumba's pretty young.
Zuccarello.
Yeah, Zuccarello, he's another old guy. And I think Zuccarello's overpaid as well. Yes. But, yeah, they're just not a good team. I mean, they have some good players. As I said, like, every team has good players in this league. It's not like, every team is going to be, top line AHL forwards, but they just can't get it done, and they're just too old.
Yep. So out of the Central Division, we tapped into the Pacific Division a little bit, going over the Western Conference Canadian road trip for the Flyers, so we'll go for this a little bit quicker. So Edmonton, like we said, is 4-0. Then we got the Anaheim Ducks in second place after their 5 games played. They are 4-1. And the major standout is John Gibson because the Ducks have only allowed 6 goals in 5 games.
Yeah, that's...
Gibson is carrying that team.
Yeah, that is some good goaltending. And they haven't really... They haven't necessarily scored that much either. Most goals they scored was 3.
They only scored 11 total.
1-2-1, 3-1, 3-1. Lost 2-1, and then they won tonight in Columbus. They won 2-1. So the most they scored in the game so far was 3. So I just think if they can get the goaltending, which is really that's what's been carrying them the list. Besides last year and the years before they made the playoffs, that was one of the biggest reasons why they made the playoffs every year, because John Gibson was just a brick wall.
He was the same thing last season. Then he got injured, and then they fell off the cliff.
Right.
So Gibson is the main. Yeah, like you said, Gibson is the main reason why this team is relevant. Mm-hmm. Even though they do have good young talent on the team, Gibson is the primary reason why they are a good team currently. And then third place, we said this, Calgary. They are 2-1 on the season with 5 points. And then we go into fourth place, which is the Vegas Golden Knights. They are currently 2-2 on the season with 4 points. They lost their game last night to the Arizona Coyotes. And honestly, Subban started that game, but he only allowed 2 goals when he was pulled.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird move. Why?
I just don't think they trust Subban at all.
Did he get hurt?
I don't know, but I remember watching the highlights and I saw Subban in the first period. Then they go right to the second period. It's Fleury in net.
He might have got hurt.
He might have got hurt, or they just pulled him for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, Vegas, I know they have like a very over tendency to overplay Marc-Andre Fleury. That was very evident last season. And I know they probably still looking for a consistent backup to relieve the games played for Fleury. But right now, I just feel like they don't trust Malcolm Subban, but he also might be injured, like you said.
Yeah, he's day-to-day with a lower body injury.
Yep, so that's the reason why. But I also feel like they don't trust Subban either, even when they play him.
I mean, who would you rather have in it, Subban or Fleury? I mean, come on.
But I would have Fleury, but the fact that the way that they overplayed Fleury last year.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, that's a good point.
And he's not on the right side of 30, and he should be playing as many games.
Yeah, true. I mean, he's kind of aging kind of like Brian Elliott. Yeah. Better than Brian Elliott, but aging with Brian Elliott.
Yeah, if Vegas has these cup ambitions, you would want to keep your top goalie rested for the playoffs, because if you can get Marc-Andre Fleury playing like dynamite in the playoffs, you're golden right there.
Yeah, but then again, it's only 4 or 5 games into the year, so...
Yeah, I know. I'm a little bit overreacting with that, but still, I don't like the way they treat Subban, okay? I don't.
Yeah, I like Subban when he was on Boston, too.
Yeah, I just don't like the way they treat him. So,
and speaking of Subban...
Yep.
Not PK Subban, Jordan Subban.
Oh, Jordan. Oh, yeah, I know about that.
Did you hear about what happened with Jordan Subban?
Yes, I heard about that.
That was ridiculous.
Yes. So Jordan Subban, one of the many brothers of the Subban family, he plays over in Europe, And this is a whole case with racism. A fan in one of the crowds was chanting monkey noises, and that's just completely unacceptable.
That should not be in the game of hockey.
It shouldn't be in the game. It shouldn't be in life right now.
Right. It shouldn't even be in anything. Exactly. Shouldn't be in anything.
And it's just completely unacceptable. I know the team made a statement on this saying we're going to resolve this real quickly. We're going to find the person who did this and ban him for life from the arena, basically.
He's playing in an Austrian EBEL league. So I guess that is the Erste Bank Ice Hockey League.
And that is a mouthful to say right there.
Yeah, that's horrible. And that just goes for the hockey is for everyone thing. That just shows that hockey is a sport that no matter who you are, what you believe, anything, you should just be able to play the game of hockey. Hockey is something that just should be able to take your mind off politics, religion, the world itself, everything. Just play the game. There's no reason to do that, especially for how much, like the racism and all the things that happen nowadays. It's horrible. All the things that happen now. It's absolutely horrible.
Yeah, just a completely terrible story right there for one of the Subban brothers. And then wrapping up the Pacific Division, we got Vancouver in 5th place. We discussed them already. They're 1-2-0. Then we got the Arizona Coyotes in 6th place. They are currently 1-2-0, similar with the Vancouver Canucks. And then you also got the Los Angeles Kings, who are also 1-2-0. And then in last place in the Pacific Division, you got the San Jose Sharks, who also recently just brought back Patrick Marleau. So
you bring back Patrick Marleau, you win your first game.
There's a sign for everything, but San Jose just hasn't looked good at all.
No, they look slow.
They look very slow. They also do they have Erik Karlsson back yet or no?
I don't know.
I don't think because he didn't start the season with them, but I still don't believe he's back with them. I think he's still injured, which is like a defenseman that you signed to that much money in the offseason. It's just weird at how much money they're paying combined Brent Burns and Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's playing.
Yeah, just to have that much money combined between your top 2 defenders.
Yeah.
And also their offense just...
He was scratched due to a personal matter?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure what's going on with the whole Erik Karlsson situation,
yeah.
Right?
I hope it's not something like another miscarriage or something.
No, I think his wife did have a daughter, so that might be the reason why he's not playing.
Maybe. Yeah,
so he might be spending time with his wife and his kid.
Yeah,
so that's
maybe.
Probably the primary reason, but it still boggles me just to the fact that how much money they pay combined to Burns and Karlsson.
Well, I mean, Karlsson is the best defenseman in this league.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, and plus they knew that going into it, and they had the cap space for it. That's one of the reasons why they have loyal players like Kevin Labanc signing 1 year, $1 million. I know this isn't really I guess it is. Patrick Marleau signs 1 year, $700,000 just to come back to play in San Jose, where he was drafted. He played there for his whole career. A guy kind of just like Justin Braun played there for what? How long did Justin Braun play there?
A while.
Yeah, a long time. I don't think it was over 10 years, but he was there for a long time. And then now coming to Philadelphia, but Karlsson, he's the problem is with Karlsson, he's just streaky. I mean, it took him forever last year to get his first point, and then he went off, and now he's taking this personal matter. Now then again, it is a personal matter, so I don't want to bash him for that. I understand that your life does come before hockey and things like that, that's perfectly fine. But this is kind of just going to hurt his play now. I mean, he probably doesn't care about that, to be honest. But I just don't. I don't understand it. I mean, I understand. I get it. It's a personal matter, but why would you be out at the beginning of the season if it even is a personal matter?
It's just the fact that Erik Karlsson, his play just hasn't really been the same since that playoff run Ottawa went through in 2017.
Yeah, he was very good with San Jose in last year's playoffs too, but just I definitely agree with you. He was more of a defensive player last year, and in Ottawa he scored a lot. He a real good offensive player in the playoffs.
Because in that 2017 playoffs, he carried the team on his back, but he was also playing on 1 foot.
Right.
The same thing last season in the playoffs for San Jose. He was playing on 1 foot.
Yeah.
And
Because wasn't he injured in the beginning of the year last year too, and that was why he had
Yeah.
such a slow start.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's just been so injury prone the past 2 seasons. That's what
Yeah.
like I know he deserves the money from how good he was in Ottawa, but like just the past 2 seasons with how many injuries this guy has been going through, it's just like it's a little bit of a bargain with how much money he's making right now, with
Yeah.
how frequently this guy gets injured. Even though
And-
he's a fantastic player
Oh,
when
yeah.
he is healthy, but
Mhm.
still, I digress. And just with San Jose too, they scored 5 goals last night, but that's half their goal total the entire season. They've only scored 10, and they've
Yeah.
allowed 21. in
Wow.
5 games. Yeah, their
That's just
goaltending
like
has not
Martin
been good.
Jones. He's so streaky too. I mean, wasn't even that good last year. He
No,
really
he was-
didn't have.
He
He was good in the playoffs.
Well, the goaltending in the regular season last year for San Jose was terrible.
Yeah, and in the playoffs it got better.
Yes.
And they just in the playoffs they have guys that carry them. Logan Couture carries them just about every year that they make the playoffs. They just San Jose just can't put it together. Every year people have them real high going far. They choke. They can never put it together. They're kind of just like they're kind of turning into Washington before they won the Stanley Cup.
Honestly, I feel like San Jose, if they continue this, even though it's only 5 games, and it might be, but if they still continue down this like slow start, I feel like Peter DeBoer is going to find himself out of San Jose. It might.
Maybe.
It's just the fact that the underachieving in the playoffs the past few seasons, he might find his way out of San Jose because
Maybe. But who replaces him?
No idea.
Exactly.
That's also a good question, but
like
it's
I
just
don't. I understand like where you're coming from, but then again, it's just like Peter DeBoer was a good coach even with New Jersey. He's been a really good coach through his career. Why I don't think it's his fault at this point. I feel like it's just the players.
But then that comes to if the team continues down a slow start, the easiest move to do first is to fire the head coach.
Yeah,
To see if you hire an interim coach or you hire just a brand new head coach to spark the team.
Yeah,
So
maybe the assistant coach takes over.
Yeah, that's the first decision for any front office because it's the easiest, rather than getting rid of someone. Look at what St. Louis did last year. It worked plenty for them.
Yeah, really.
Because
even the Flyers, it worked pretty decent. I mean, get rid of Hackstall, and then Gordo wasn't a bad coach.
He wasn't, but we were still streaky.
Oh yeah, he was better than. Well, I mean, obviously they're going to be streaky. It's not like they're going to be.
Well, anyone's better than Hackstall.
Oh, definitely.
Anyone is better than Hackstall.
And he's now he's the assistant coach with Toronto.
Oh boy, that's fun. that's fun.
Oh.
But wrapping up the whole standings for the NHL, like we said, just literally take everything with a grain of salt. I know we dabbed into this a little too much. What are you gonna do? You're gonna ramble on when you're talking about hockey because hockey is a very interesting topic to talk about.
I could sit here and talk for hockey till like 3 o'clock in the morning. I could be here for hours just talking about hockey and bringing up different conversations. Because once you start talking about one thing, another thing comes up, and another thing comes up.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree with you. But without further ado, we're getting very long into this podcast, and we need to wrap it up because this is going very long right now. So to wrap it up, the Flyers won their home opener against New Jersey Devils. It was a great game. Now they got this Western Canadian road trip coming up with the Vancouver Canucks, Calgary Flames, and the Edmonton Oilers. And it's going to be a very interesting to see what the Flyers can do with all this constant travel going from Czech Republic back to Philadelphia. Now you're going back to Western Canada. So this is a really good test for the Flyers coming up for this stretch of games to see how they can respond to it. So, Chris, like you said, what are you hoping to see in these next 3 games to wrap it up?
Well, first, I hope they can at least get 1 win. I would love 3. I think everyone would love 3.
I think that's a little over.
Yeah, I know it's a little overboard. I'm gonna say 2 wins and a loss, 1 in regulation, the loss in regulation, and then a win in regulation and a win in the shootout.
Okay.
But one thing I want to bring up too is how do you think Saturday's game against Dallas is going to be?
Who knows? I feel like honestly, who knows? I had to judge it based off what happens with this Western Canadian road trip.
Yeah,
because
I think that's a good point.
Yeah, because after this Western Canadian road trip, we'll be back with the Fired Up podcast to recap that and then look forward into the upcoming games that are at home against the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights. So, Flyers going off to this Western Canadian road trip. It's going to be very exciting. Like Chris said, he believes the Flyers can hopefully get 2 wins out of that. I believe the Flyers are going to go 1-1-1. So, without further ado, finally, this has been the 6th episode of the Flyered Up podcast. I'm Amadeo Gracia. He is Chris Mayer. Without further ado, once again, we will see you guys in the next episode. And also, do not forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channels. So, once again, without further ado, good night, everyone.